I still remember the first time I walked into a room and saw a wound that completely changed the way I saw medicine. It was during residency. I had already been through plenty of hard cases by that point. Patients with strokes, heart attacks, infections that took over entire systems. I'd seen people at the edge of life and back, but this was different. The patient was lying there, frail, thin, immobile, and then I saw it. This wound on the sacrum so deep and raw that it felt like time stopped for a second. It wasn't just skin, it was muscle, tissue, exposed in a way that felt wrong, like something that should never happen to a human being. And here's the part I'll never forget. I froze. Not because I was afraid of the sight of it, but because I realized in that exact moment, I had no idea what to do. I was a physician in training. I was supposed to know how to help, but wound care? It wasn't something we were really taught in depth. We brushed over it, a few lectures, maybe some dressing changes on rounds, but nothing that prepared me for this. I stood there with this awful pit in my stomach. I remember thinking I should know what to do, but I don't. That night, I went home and replayed it over and over in my head. Was that ulcer preventable? What should I have done differently? Did I let this patient down? And the truth is, I didn't have answers, just questions and a lot of guilt. That was my first real wound care moment, and it stuck with me. Looking back, I realized that was my origin story, the start of a journey I didn't even know I was on yet. A journey that would take me from doubt and guilt to curiosity and growth to finally seeing wound care not just as a skill, but as a calling. But in the beginning, I just felt lost. And here's the thing, I wasn't alone. If I as a physician didn't know what to do, how many other clinicians were out there feeling the same? Nurses, doctors, caregivers, all standing at the bedside of patients with wounds, unsure, overwhelmed, second-guessing themselves. That question lit something in me. The road forward wasn't quick or easy. I didn't suddenly become a wound care provider the next day. It was more like a slow unfolding, case by case, patient by patient. There was one man I'll never forget. He had severe peripheral arterial disease, both legs covered in circumferential ulcers. Every time we unwrapped the dressings, you could feel the heaviness in the room. The wounds weren't just on his legs, they were weighing on his entire being. He could barely walk. He was embarrassed. He was angry at life. And again, I felt that voice. Am I really helping him, or am I just covering up what I don't fully understand? But that time, instead of pulling back, I leaned in. I started reading more. I started asking questions. I asked the vascular surgeon, the wound nurse, anyone who would teach me. I stayed after rounds to watch dressing changes. I wanted to know why one product was used instead of another, why compression mattered, why one wound healed and another stalled. And the more I learned, the more I realized something. Wounds are not just skin problems, they're whole person problems. That diabetic foot ulcer is not just a hole in the foot, it's circulation, blood sugar, neuropathy, shoes that don't fit, and sometimes even the fact that the patient doesn't have transportation to follow-up visits. That pressure ulcer I saw in residency, it wasn't just about turning schedules, it was about staffing, shortages, immobility, nutrition, dignity. Wounds are stories. They tell the truth about what's happening inside someone's body and often inside their life. And when you help a wound heal, you're not just closing the skin, you're giving someone back their mobility, their independence, their dignity, sometimes even their future. That's what hooked me. The deeper I went, the more I saw how overlooked wound care was in medicine. We spent years learning how to manage diabetes, heart disease, infections, but wound care? Often it's treated like a side note. Something you refer out, something you patch up and move on from. But for patients, wounds are everything. They're the pain that keeps them up at night, the reason they can't walk, the thing that decides whether they stay home or go into a facility. Sometimes the thing that decides if they keep a limb or lose it. And I thought, if this is so central to patients' lives, why isn't it central in how we train and support clinicians? That's when I knew wound care wasn't just going to be something I did. It was going to be something I built my entire life around. And it wasn't just about me gaining knowledge, it was about creating a bridge for others. Because here's the truth, if I had known then what I know now, that first patient in residency might have had a different outcome. That realization became my mission. I wanted to make sure no clinician ever felt as helpless as I did that day. So I built the Wound Care Circle, not just as a program, not just as a community, but as a movement. A place where clinicians, whether you're brand new, advanced, or even just curious, can come and feel supported, where you don't have to guess, where you don't have to feel alone. Because I believe wound care is too important to leave to guesswork. but the wound care circle is just one piece of something bigger. My broader mission is to build a world where wound care is accessible, practical, and empowering, where any clinician anywhere can accelerate up the learning curve and help patients heal faster, where patients don't have to suffer simply because the people caring for them weren't given the right training. That's the world I want to help create. And I'll be honest, it's a big vision, but every movement starts somewhere. For me, it started with one patient, one ulcer I couldn't forget, one moment where I felt powerless. That wound pushed me to grow. It gave me purpose, and it's why I'm here now, sharing this with you. Because if you've ever felt that same uncertainty, that moment of standing at the bedside and wondering, am I doing enough? Am I doing it right? I want you to know something. You're not alone, and you don't have to stay in that place. There's a way forward. I've lived it, I've grown through it, and I believe together we can change the way wound care is taught, learned, and practiced for good. That's how I became a wound care provider. Not by accident, not by checking a box, but by walking into a room one day, seeing a wound I'll never forget, and realizing this is where I'm called to make a difference. And that difference is only just beginning. And if you're anything like me, you probably are ready to learn way more about wound care. And that is exactly why I created the Wound Care Circle. It's completely free, and it's really just a place to learn and connect with other clinicians who are sharing their expertise with each other. You can get access in the first link below. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay informed and heal well.